Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host Gershwin and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we take it back to 30K to explain a little bit of what's going on in 40K. We're going to be talking about a Warrior Lodge. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe because we post Warhammer 40K content every single day. And if you have any requests or suggestions, please comment down below with that request and we will try to make a video for you guys. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Warrior Lodge. A Warrior Lodge was a closed fraternity of warriors that existed outside the Space Marine Legion's formal structure. Warrior Lodges were spread within many of the legions that ultimately turned traitor to the Imperium of Man at the close of the Great Crusade. Some 6 standard decades prior to the events of the Horus Heresy, the 16th Legion, already called the Luna Wolves, in collaboration with the 17th Legion, then known as the Imperial Heralds, but were later renamed the Wordbearers, had undertaken the imperial compliance of the feral world of Davin, codified as 63-8. A feral place, Davin had been controlled by a remarkable warrior caste, whose savage nobility had won the respect of the Astartes sent to pacify their raging and bloody feuds. The Davinite warriors had ruled their world through a complex structure of warrior lodges, which were quasi-religious societies that had venerated various local predators as totem animals. By cultural osmosis, the lodge practices were quietly absorbed, emulated and modified by the 16th and 17th Legions to match their own internal legion culture. Throughout history, warriors had always sought the brotherhood of their kind. The warrior lodges supposedly sought to promote fellowship across the hierarchies of command in the Space Marine Legion, irrespective of rank or position. These lodges were intended to serve as a kind of internal bond, a ribwork of loyalty that operated, as it were, perpendicular to the Legion's official chain of command. Imperial scholars now believe that the influence of the Primarch Lorgar and his wordbearers played a key role in the proliferation of the lodges amongst the various legions who took up the practice, spreading like a slow contagion and eventually becoming the source of the cancer that grew at the heart of the Imperium's finest warriors. Officially, there was no warrior lodges or any kind of fraternities within the Legionis Astarte. It was common knowledge that the Emperor frowned on such institutions, claiming they were dangerously close to cults, and only a step away from the illegal cult, the Lectitio Divinatus, that supported the notion of the Emperor as one true god of mankind. The Emperor openly and publicly refuted his alleged divinity and banned religious worship in his empire, and demanded that his subjects accept the imperial truth, that science, reason, and logic alone presented the tools required to create a better human future. There were many of those amongst the Space Marine Legions, especially those Astartes of Terran origin, who were openly opposed to the practices of the lodges, for to them it felt wrong, if nothing else, in that their practices were deliberately kept secret from other members of the Legion, and were thus a form of deceit, since they knew that the Emperor who have greatly disapproved of the custom. Many of those Space Marine officers within the legions who disapproved of such clandestine activities let it be known to those Astartes that served under their command that they should have nothing to do with these lodges. In the final days of the Great Crusade, during the battle against the chaos-spawned undead on Davin's moon, whose planetary governor, Eugen Temba, had been corrupted by the forces of the chaos god Nurgle. Horus was poisoned by a Xenos blade dedicated to Nurgle, known as Kimbrak Anthemum. The blade had been stolen from the human civilization of the Interax by the Wordbearer's first chaplain, Erebus, after Horus and the Luna Wolves of the 63rd Expeditionary Fleet had made a disastrous first contact with them. In the course of that battle against Temba, the potent living metal of the Chaos Blade, wielded by the plague-infused monstrosity, left Horus with a bleeding, toxic wound in his shoulder that his legionist apothecaries could not heal despite all the advanced technology available to them. Seeing this chance to further the nefarious design of the ruinous powers, Erebus next persuaded the Lunawolves' warrior lodge to allow a group of Davinite shamans, chaos cultists, located on the surface of Davin at the Temple of the Serpent Lodge, to heal him. The Lunawolves, beside themselves with grief and fear that their beloved Primarch would die, agreed to the suggestion despite its direct violation of the creeds of the Imperial Truth. It was on Davin that things began to turn, where the momentum that led to the corruption of Horus and his Lunawolves came to a head, planting the seed of the monstrous betrayal that would come. Horus fell, and then he rose, healed by the arcane powers of the Davinite witches after he agreed within the warp to betray his father the Emperor in return for mastery over the galaxy, as delivered to him through the service of chaos. From the day of Horus's resurrection on, he took the good and open nature of the Lunawolves' warrior lodge and turned it slowly to meet his own ends, using it as an instrument of corruption to determine which of his Astartes would join him in a rebellion, and which would have to be eliminated before the betrayal could be consummated. Within the warrior lodges of the Lunawolves and the other legions, targeted by Horus to join his cause, dark shadows grew over the hearts of warriors who had once been devoted and loyal to the Imperium's highest ideals. After Horus's miraculous resurrection, the proliferation of these warrior lodges quickly spread amongst the other legions, especially those that maintained close bond with the 16th, and eventually turned traitor. Though these warrior lodges had venerated no god or occult practice, the ritual and secret element of the warrior lodges did not fit with the ruthless rationality of the Imperial Truth, and were soon turned to the purposes of those who sought to spread the worship of the entities of the warp through the legions. Frowned upon but tolerated, the lodges persisted and flourished even in the years before Horus's corruption. They had survived in part because many of the officers within the legions saw them as relatively harmless, and in part because they did promote fellowship within and between legions. It was a fatal misjudgment that would have dire consequences for all mankind. In the late 41st millennium, 10,000 standard years after the end of the Horus heresy, the formation of secret brotherhoods among self-appointed elite soldiers was still regarded as a warning sign of corruption by chaos. Commissar Kane made a point of lecturing his students at the Schola Progenium about it, to make it possible for them to identify and hopefully head off the potential development of traitor guard units. From what little is known to modern Imperial scholars, behind closed doors, the members of the lodge put aside the divisions of rank and honor. No rank exists between members aside from the ranks and divisions of the lodge itself. It was quite possible for a senior Space Marine captain to be greeted as an equal by a man under his command. Likewise, it was equally possible for a sergeant to be the lodge master, one of his acolytes a company captain, and a neophyte to be a senior lodge commander. Such subversion of order of rank and military discipline was possible because the lodges bounded themselves with rituals and secrecy. The meeting places of a lodge were secret chambers entered by only one door. The door was guarded, and only those bearing the words and symbols of membership could pass within. Members recognized each other by the use of artifacts such as lodge coins, marks, gestures, and code phrases. Symbolism and ritual significance surrounded the initiation into a lodge. In some of the Legion's warrior lodges, the prospective initiate was blindfolded, only seeing again once the ceremony was complete. In other lodges, he would drink a cup of blood, a cup of water, and a cup of sour wine. Some had labyrinthian levels of rank to ascend. Others confined themselves to a basic few. For example, within the Emperor's Children Legion, the Brotherhood of the Phoenix was a more exclusive warrior lodge than those found within any other legion. When the Emperor's children had fought alongside the Lunawolves early after the rediscovery of their Primarch Fulgrim, they had formed great bonds of friendship with the warriors of Horus, and in the times between the fighting, a few loose tongues amongst the warriors of the 16th Legion had spoken to their brothers in the 3rd Legion of the existence of these warrior lodges. The Luna Wolf's Lodge was in theory open to any warrior who desired to be a member, an informal place of lively debate where rank held no sway and a man could speak his mind freely without fear of reprisal. Eventually, a few Astartes from the Emperor's Children were permitted to attend one such meeting, a pleasant evening of honorable camaraderie, under the leadership of the Lodge Master, Sergar Targost. Some enjoyed the meeting, despite the nature and theatrics of it, but some remained uncomfortable with the informality and mingling of the ranks. In the traditional hierarchical Emperor's Children Legion, only warriors of officer rank could join the similar confraternity, which was soon created within the 3rd Legion, and which also would eventually be used as a conduit by which Fulgrim and the other members of the Emperor's Children, who were corrupted by Slaanesh, would seize control of the Legion and rid themselves of their Imperial loyalist during the Isvan III atrocity. And those were 40 facts on the Warrior Lodge. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, share this with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever social media your play group likes to hang out in. If you have a Chaos Space Marine player, or a soon-to-be Chaos Space Marine player that wants to build their own lore, make sure to send them this video and explain that this is a perfect origin story for any Chaos Warband. With that said, now I can start making videos on all those warbands and traitor legions that actually have their origins coming from these warrior lodge, or warrior lodges, I guess. It's going to be a lot of fun, and if you guys have any requests for any other topics of Warhammer 40K that you guys would like us to create a video for, don't forget to make that suggestion down in the comment section below. And if you like our videos and you want to support us a little bit more, jump on over to Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos. If you can't, simply by liking, commenting, and sharing, it really helps out the channel. What's interesting about the Warrior Lodge is that it's very similar to what the Iron Hands had with all their different clans. I mean, in their situation it was called clan, but it's almost the same thing as a Warrior Lodge. Yet the Iron Hands never became traitorous. So it's interesting how the Warrior Lodge is supposed to be the stem, or part of the reason why a lot of those traitor legions were able to become traitorous. Yet, you know, you have the Raven Guard, you have the Iron Hands, who all had their own little clans, their own little lodges, and they never became traitors. So I guess it's more of a, it's not so much guaranteed for that legion or that group to become traitorous if they're part of their own exclusive group. But it's pretty interesting, fun topic, and like I said, I'll see you guys tomorrow with more of your requests. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.